Welcome back, beautiful Gemsters. We are on another segment here on Gems Podcast, and with me today is Anne Swanson. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Anne and the incredible work that she's doing, and then you'll hear from the woman herself. And she is amazing, y'all. So, Anne Swanson is the author of the internationally best-selling book Science of Yoga, and recently Meditation for the Real World, which illuminates the fascinating science behind meditation with step by step practices to help you find peace in everyday life. However, Anne wasn't a naturally chill person, and meditation didn't come easy to her. Overcoming chronic pain and anxiety led her to India to study yoga, to China to explore Tai Chi, and to earn a Master's of Science in Yoga Therapy. Anne blends cutting edge research with ancient wisdom, resulting in realistic techniques you won't just learn, you'll love to live by. So you can order her new book at www.meditationfortherealworld.com for exclusive bonuses. But without further ado, let's welcome the woman behind it all. Because you know what? A bio is just a bio. So welcome, Anne Swanson.
It's so good to be here with you, Genesis.
Thank you so much for coming on and to just share and hold space. And I'm already like intrigued by your bio because I actually love doing yoga. And I think I actually need to tap back into it because my body has been aching. So I want to get you to connect with the audience in a fun and personal manner before we dive into the meat and potatoes. So, are you interested in a rapid fire 10 question game or an icebreaker?
Let's do the rapid fire.
Alrighty, here we go, y'all. We're playing rapid fire with Anne and Genesis. Do 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 do. Question number one. What's one word to describe you?
Creative.
Question number two. If you could trade places with anyone, past or present, for 24 to 72 hours, would you trade places or remain yourself?
I mean, I only for that short a time. I think it'd be cool to check out what it's like to be Oprah
Ooh,
on
okay.
Maui.
Question number three. Since you do podcasts, what is your favorite podcast that you've listened to or been on so far?
I was just on one called LOA, and they do stuff with law of attraction, but really in all different realms. And it was a really fun one.
Ooh, okay. LOA. Who's the host?
LOA. This literally just happened. So let me pull it up really quickly.
Okay.
Um, so we got Anne Marie was one of the people there, and Walt is the host. They kind of switch who the hosts are, but Walt is the main guy. And it's called LOA Today, Your Daily Dose of Happy. And it's all about like, in a world of negative news, positive news that makes you feel good. So we talked about how to feel better.
I like that. So, y'all, whenever you're done listening to this segment, check out LOA. It's always good to give digital currency to other creatives out there. Question four. What is your favorite food to eat?
I just had some chocolate covered almonds that I'm obsessed with. I was given them as a wedding gift because I got married last week.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
question five. Have you honeymoon yet? And if so, where?
Well, we live in Hawaii, so I guess we're gonna go on a trip in June to Spain and Canary Islands. So I think, that'll count as our honeymoon, but not right away.
Okay, cool. Question six. Have you always lived in Hawaii?
I actually came here on vacation toward the end of COVID, like toward the end of the lockdown, because I needed a break. I was living in my mom's basement because I had just sold everything I had owned to travel the world on book tour for my first book, Science of Yoga. That was obviously canceled. So I came here to get away. I felt like I deserved a little vacation, and I just kept having like things to do the next week. So I just kept staying, and it's been 3 years now.
Oh my gosh. Oh, That is incredible. Did you meet your husband there by a chance?
I did. We met here. We met
Oh,
dancing.
oh my gosh. So for you single people out there, if you get away on a trip, you never know if you'll find your other half, your partner, your boo, your bae, your hubby, your wife, whatever that partner looks like for you. So keep that in mind.
Or
Um,
dancing. That's the best way to meet people is dancing.
oh, okay. So I like that. So this will be question 7. Is dancing your favorite recreation activity or something else?
You know what it is? It just changes which style of dance. Right now I'm into tango.
Okay. Question 8. Can you speak any other languages outside of English?
I speak Chinese and Spanish.
Oh, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Necesito practicar.
Oh, yo
Me
también.
olvidé muchísimo. No hablo mucho.
Yo también. Yo hablo español un poquito, porque yo quiero estudiar mucho, pero mi papá soy de Sudamérica, soy de
Oh,
Curazao.
qué bueno, qué bueno. It's
Well,
funny. I actually feel like Mandarin Chinese was a lot easier for me than Spanish because it incorporates a lot of grammar. So that's what I'm always hesitant to speak Spanish, even though I minored in Spanish and I used to live in South America. So I can speak and understand, but I get nervous about the grammar. But Chinese, no grammar. You just put the words together. There's no future tense, past tense. Everything's just you just say it. There's no conjugating, there's no feminine, masculine, none of that.
okay. Well, we're all about dropping gems here on the podcast. So, question 9. How do you say good morning in Chinese for anyone interested in traveling to China? It's so important that you learn a language whenever you go somewhere.
Mm. Uh Well, ni hao is hello. And then, wow, I haven't spoken Chinese in 10 years. So that is not coming to me right this moment. That is
No
really
worries.
bad.
We'll take me how, and then that'll bring us to the number 10, which is the pass or play question. And here are the rules. If you pass, our roles are reversed, and that's where you could ask me any question. If you play, I ask one last question to wrap up rapid fire. So are we passing or playing?
Playing.
Okay. Last question. You just won the lottery. Cha-ching, cha-ching. However, to get your proceeds released to you, you must donate to 3 charities of your choice first. What charities are you donating to?
Mm, that's a good question. I think I would donate to definitely something to clean the oceans. I live here in Hawaii and seeing trash in the oceans is really bad. So donating to the different people that go out like scuba diving and getting the trash and that would be a big thing for me for sure. And then, gosh, I keep thinking of Hawaii things because also homelessness is a big problem here. So working with that, for sure, resources for homeless. And then I'd like to donate to some sort of service that helps teach meditation and yoga in jails. My aunt does that, and she says it's so beneficial. And so I think that that would be a really cool thing to invest in.
Those are really cool. So cleaning up the beach, which also goes into sustainability, keeping our environment clean and just prolonging it. Meditation and yoga in jails. I had no idea that people taught that in there, but that'll definitely help reduce stress and some of the anxiety that's in there. And then homelessness. I wouldn't have imagined homelessness in Hawaii, but I guess homelessness is everywhere. And sometimes we forget to really be considerate of those who are not in the same situation as we are, because we get so caught up in the day to day, and people saying, oh, you know what, sometimes that those people, they really aren't homeless. Like, I know I live here in Texas, and sometimes we see people on the street begging for cash or whatnot, but then like they end up driving away in cars or tricking people. So sometimes it's like, oh, should I or should I not? So I want to thank you for just sharing those 3 charities that you would partner with around those things because it actually shows like you're heart centered and that you're giving. So now we're really gonna dive into the meat and potatoes of the conversation, which is how some of your failures push you into doing the work that you're doing now. You're author of two best-selling books, you've traveled to India and China and etc. But it's always good to like peel back the onion layer to hear what were you doing before and what were some of those failures that got you to where you are? Because I always hate when people say, "Oh, I'm here," but they forget about the backstory on what it took to get to where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no overnight success, right? All of those people that seem like an overnight success, you just heard about them. That's the overnight aspect of it, but there was long in the making. And so I came to yoga and meditation and Tai Chi because I myself dealt with lot of anxiety and chronic pain since I was a teenager. And as a solution for those things, I came to first yoga and the physical practices, and then that opened my eyes to meditation, which ultimately the yoga poses prepare us for the meditation. So it is a deeper practice, and that's what my most recent book is about: meditation for the real world, because I want to help people get into that deeper practice that some people feel is esoteric and maybe inaccessible. You got to sit for 20 minutes a day on the floor in a cushion in perfect silence, but really it doesn't have to be that way. I've found that like integrating mini meditations through my day make a huge impact in my anxiety and in pain management. So I came to these practices because I needed them, and now I want to share with other people who deal with those things too.
That's awesome that, out of something that was painful, it drove you to something that was purposeful in order for you to free yourself and get in a different mindset and space. But then in return, you're also doing the same thing to help other people liberate themselves from anxiety, chronic pain, and etc. And you mentioned that it stemmed from your teenager years. So I always like to look at the RCA, the root cause analysis. Was there something that was in your teenage life that was the pinpoint that made you feel that you had anxiety or fear or contributed to it? Because a lot of teenagers today are dealing with social media, they have bullying at school, they have cyberbullying, the pressure to fit in. Now this opioids pandemic, there's more drugs that are influenced in schools than ever before. There's so many things that the younger generation is facing. And I'm a millennial, probably maybe an older side of millennial. But I was like, oh my gosh, like we didn't do that in high school. And that was over 10 years ago, probably like
Yeah,
12 or
yeah.
13.
I mean, we still had the pressures for popularity or feeling rejection. Something social rejection makes people quite anxious. I think being raised by my father, who's a NASA rocket scientist and surely is autistic or on the spectrum, I didn't have the best like social skills and graceful social situations. So I think that social anxiety was something that really plagued me and made me feel like lesser than.
Okay, I could definitely respect that. And oh my gosh, like your dad sounds amazing.
He comes to all my yoga and Tai Chi classes now every week. He'll send me a long text if he can't come. It's like, Dear Anne, that generation. It's this long, like, letter, love dad at the end.
Aw, that is so sweet. So in your yoga practices, do you incorporate any animals? Like I know goat yoga, dog yoga, and some of those are like really cool. And my sister-in-law's friend actually teaches it in the neighborhood and at like a lifetime. No, sorry, not a lifetime because they don't have animals in there, but like other places similar to like Lifetime Gym. And she's like, oh my gosh, you should try it. And I'm like, goat yoga. And she showed me like little goats on the yoga, and then they did a dog yoga. I was like, oh, this is nice. I normally do like some of the inversions, which I've only done like the shoulder stand inversion and trying to get to the headstand. So tell me about like your different type, because I know there's different types of yoga, and some people just feel like it's one type. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So most of my students I teach virtually, so they're at home, and if they have their dog or cat, their dog or cat is going to be crawling all over them because of course when you're on the floor, you feel like that the animal feels like you're there for them to play, obviously. So I do see a lot of animals in my yoga classes, which is quite adorable. I teach yoga therapy. I'm a yoga therapist, which means that I work with people therapeutically one-on-one or in small groups with a similar condition like arthritis, chronic pain, in order to help them. So I adapt the practices using science and research and clinical practice.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that because that's actually important to highlight. So the science of yoga and helping them in a clinical way, did you have to study because I know you have the Masters of Science in yoga. So outside of that part of studying, was there anything else that you did like internships or whatnot to like really look at the science behind it, but also pair it together just to ensure that everything is incorporated and you haven't thought about anything else? Because sometimes we have these outside of the box things where like, is this gonna work or is it not? And when in actuality, if you just try it, it does stick and it works because everyone has a different body type and we're uniquely made. And sometimes it's just one tweak for one person that may not work for another person. And if I said that wrong, please feel free to correct me and say, Genesis, not like that.
Yeah, so my Master's of Science in Yoga Therapy was a graduate program that included clinical practice as part of it. So we were required to work with people clinically under supervision. And then beyond that, I did a pre-med course load. Like I thought I was going to be going into the medical field to be a better yoga teacher. I thought that was the best path, but I ended up going on this path. But studying traditional science, I worked in a cadaver lab and I became a licensed massage therapist. So I also incorporated a lot of self massage, like on my YouTube channel and Swanson Wellness. I incorporate like self massage things you can do in the chair when you're dealing with pain, if you have shoulder pain, and people really take to that. So incorporating all these different modalities that I've learned and adapting it for the individual.
That is really cool. I'm definitely gonna have to go check out your YouTube page to test that out. And I may actually snag that for like my work side because we have our wellness connection coming up here on Wednesday. So I always like to share little tips and tricks around that. And I know meditation is very, very important, but sometimes people find out, well, they find that it's hard for them to get into meditation because they're so busy that it's hard to slow down. And I think, me personally speaking here, I think meditation along with mindfulness helps you really get in the zone of meditation. But what's your take on meditation and the science behind it?
Yeah, so people feel like they don't have time to meditate, but you could meditate for a minute. When you're, on the cover of the book, Meditation for the Real World, you see somebody sitting on a train. So when you're waiting, when you have something in between, you can use that time to meditate. She's the only one that looks like she has good posture. She looks relaxed. She has her eyes open. You don't have to have your eyes closed to meditate. You can do this anywhere. I do it in waiting in the waiting room at the doctor's office to help me with that anxiety of getting a medical procedure. So integrating meditation into your day for 1 minute or even just a few deep breaths, you can feel those immediate effects if you do a powerful pause before you go into a meeting. You're going to be able to articulate a lot better than being in that go, go, go mindset that you feel when you're rushing to get somewhere.
I like that, and I like the fact that you shared with the audience that you don't have to close your eyes. You could do it with your eyes open and you're breathing. So for those who are interested in starting meditation, do you recommend them using an app to help them get into building a habit, or should they just start with a minute? Or how can beginners like start and
Yeah.
keep going with it?
That's a really good question because I wrote this book because I'm so sick of everything being digital. Sometimes I have apps, for meditation and I use them too. They can be very valuable. I'm not negating that. But I've found myself like scrolling, looking for the perfect meditation on the app. And it's like another social media. Different things pop up. And then I'm like, okay, I need one for anxiety right now. I find one and I'm listening to this meditation that says it's very highly rated for anxiety. And all of a sudden I'm pulling out a green sword and I'm fighting the Archangel Michael. I'm like, how did I get here? This is not what I signed up for. So sometimes the apps can be overwhelming. And I wrote this book because I feel like to have something physical, something that's beautiful and physical, that has illustrations, that you can like look at by your bedside or on your coffee table or at your desk to take a little break, that can be of great benefit to integrate these 1 minute meditations just by pulling up the book and use it as a handbook. Find a page that's representing what you're dealing with. Are you dealing with frustration right now? There's meditations for that. Anxiety, depression, grief, FOMO. Are you feeling overwhelmed from doom scrolling? There's a meditation for each sort of situation, and you can read it and then sit and do it through the instructions of reading, because a lot of them are so short. It's just a minute. It's just, here's what you're going to do, here's what you're going to focus on. But for your listeners, I have a free gift if you really want to learn to meditate. When you go to meditationfortherealworld.com and you'll see all the links of where to buy the book, then you'll get an audio meditation guide that's less than 10 minutes a day that will guide you through developing a meditation practice that's science-backed, that incorporates music that has been engineered to optimize your brainwaves. So if you really need that like extra help to get into that focus, you have trouble focusing, that could be really helpful for you. So that's at meditationfortherealworld.com.
I love that. And one thing I'll throw in here too for the audience, sometimes y'all, I meditate in the shower because it's the one place I'm alone without my husband, without the baby, and no one is coming in there unless, TMI, my husband and I take a shower together sometimes and he'll come in and just surprise me. But outside of that, or in the restroom, like just sitting there and focusing on my breathing. And there's a box method where, like, if you draw a box, like you inhale, exhale, and you do that. Or another one that I learned through mindfulness, I think it's mindfulness for East Coast. I drop in on their segments time to time. She said breathing through your nose and alternating. So closing one nostril, breathing in, then exhaling, then doing the other one and alternating the sides. And I was like, oh, that's actually interesting. I never tried it, but when I did try it, I was like, oh, this is actually nice. Or inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, or just inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose, and just really paying attention to how you're breathing. How is your stomach rising and falling? Is your heart beating fast, and etc. And really do the work to connect inwardly with your body. Then it really helps you get into that practice of meditation and mindfulness. And I thought those were helpful for me. So hopefully they're helpful for you. But I'm not
Yeah.
an expert in that. So,
No, those are all great techniques and they're all in the book. So one of them is alternate nostril breathing.
mm,
And so you cover your right nostril with your right thumb. You can do it while you're listening. And you exhale through your left nostril. And then you inhale through your left nostril. And then you cover your left nostril, usually with the ring finger. And you, yes, exhale through the right nostril. Inhale. Switch, covering the nostril with the thumb. Exhale. Inhale. Switch. Exhale. Inhale. Switch. Exhale. Good. Let's just keep covering the right nostril with the thumb, and let's just keep breathing through the left nostril. This left nostril breathing I talk about in the book also, it can be very calming. Just focusing on your left nostril. I do this with kids a lot because it's very tactile. Just cover your right nostril with your right thumb and just breathe through your left nostril for several deep breaths. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system. We've seen this in research. You go more into that rest, digest, and rejuvenate state of your nervous system when you do this for a few breaths. The other one you mentioned was square breathing, which is
Mm.
also in the book. And so
Mm.
this is something that's used by Navy SEALs
Oh,
in order
wow.
to handle very stressful situations. I recommended it when you go home for the holidays and you have to deal with seeing family that's going to be very critical. Like I said, there's a meditation for everything in here. So when you're in a very high stress, high pressure situation, you can take advantage of what Navy SEALs use in the most intense of situation. So we're going to do it for 4 counts. If this is uncomfortable, you can always do it for 3 counts. You can adapt it. So we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. One more round. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and then allow your breath to be natural. This builds resilience. If that was challenging for you, you can always start with threes. That's totally
Yeah.
fine.
I don't like
Adapt
the
it as
tension.
needed. Yeah, but I find that integrating these little techniques through the day, like you said, in the bathroom stall in a public place. I don't get to share this meditation very much, and it did not make it in the book. There's 83 meditations in the book. This one did not make it in because it's a little weird, but I literally, when I pee, I feel the release and I imagine just letting go of whatever I'm stressed about, whatever is on my shoulders. I let my whole body relax, which is also good for your pelvic floor and the
Mm.
pelvic floor health is to really release and let go. So I use that as a mindfulness meditation to focus on a feeling of letting go of that which doesn't serve me. Don't get to always share that one, but since you said it, it really works. You can integrate these powerful pauses into your day rather than scrolling on the toilet or, kind of clenching up and thinking about something else. Use that as a moment to gather yourself, to press reset on your nervous system.
Exactly. And thank you for sharing that. And y'all, pelvic floor for those mamas out there, that's very, very important, especially after you have a baby. You want to make sure like you are repairing your pelvic floor, especially if you have multiples. Like it's very important with one, but for those of you who want to have multiples, it is very, very important as well. So I like that you shared that. And the release of peeing, like feeling the release. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that, but I was like, oh, maybe I do that too.
And it's really with your pelvic floor health. I talk about this a lot in Science of Yoga book. Um it's a sense of releasing and learning how to teach your pelvic floor to release. We think of, oh, we need to strengthen it. But a lot of times we're actually, like tight asses, we're squeezing all the time in the area. We haven't taught it how to release. We lose that ability to know the difference between tension and relaxation of the pelvic floor. This can also help you if you have that like urgency for peeing, when you have difficulties with that, teaching your pelvic floor when to engage and hold it and when to release and how to go back and forth between those builds that resiliency. So we can integrate mindfulness into building that practice.
Thank you so much for just sharing that, y'all. And I hope these tips have been helpful thus far. And Anne, I want to throw you an audible before we wind down because we're coming close to time. Is there anything that I have not asked you about yoga or meditation that you would like to share with the gemsters?
If you've ever tried it and it didn't work for you or you weren't able to stick with it, try again. You might have just been doing the wrong technique for you or for that situation. Try the book Meditation for the Real World, which has 83 techniques for specific situations. And as I said before, if you go to meditationfortherealworld.com, my gift to you listeners is audio meditations that are science backed, that are less than 10 minutes a day in order to build that practice. And it also teaches you some of those 1 minute meditations to integrate into your day.
So lots of helpful information out there. And now I want to jump into the CTA, which is a call to action part of the segment. And I always like to challenge the gemsters with giving them homework because what good is listening to the content if you don't take what you have heard and apply it to your daily life and practice? So for starters, what is your homework for the community today?
I think something that was really important for meditators is to bring your meditation into the world, the real world, and to bring the real world into your meditation, to really integrate it into your life. And one way that I like to do that is something called the helper's high. Scientists say that when we do something giving for others, when we do something nice, that we get this release of endorphins that's similar to, like, a runner's high. You release that chemical cocktail of feel good chemicals that help with pain relief, help you feel at your best. And we do that when we do something nice for others. I think most people don't realize what a big impact it makes to write reviews. If you're enjoying this podcast, write a review for this podcast. But not only that, that's the thing that you're doing that's giving, right? Is you're making a big impact for Genesis, but also after you do it, take a moment, notice how it feels in your body. That's your 1 minute meditation, or it could be a one breath meditation. This is what psychologists call savoring. You savor those feel good, chemicals and that feeling, and you'll get more physiological benefits for yourself. So it's good for her, and it's good for yourself. And when you get meditation for the real world afterwards, write an Amazon review, and same thing then. That makes a huge impact for authors. That's how we get our next book contract, believe it or not, is
Yes.
the Amazon reviews. So write an Amazon review, say how much you love it, and then notice how it feels in your body. Savor that helper's high. Do nice things for others, write reviews, tell people you appreciate them, and then take a moment and literally feel it. That's your meditation. That gratitude, that state of gratitude, is the best attitude. It'll change everything in your life. You'll begin to attract more, positive people and situations when you live in that state of gratitude, but bring it into action. And I think a lot of people just don't realize the benefit of writing reviews. So I always like to emphasize that.
And thank you so much for sharing that, Anne, because it is definitely so important. And I know Meditation for the Real World has your social media links on there as well as the freebies and etc. But is there a social media platform that you're on primarily where you want them to follow and connect with you there?
At scienceof.yoga, it's the name of my first book. And that's where you can share, when you get the books, take pictures of them, let me know how you're liking them, interact with me. I always answer the DMs directly. That's me answering them. So at scienceof.yoga on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Anne. And one thing I want to challenge y'all to do, audience here, is pay it forward by buying a book for yourself and a friend. And for those of you that are corporate gurus, we have EHAP, which is the Employee Health Assistance Program. So you could recommend this book to one of the ERGs, which is the Employee Resource Groups, and y'all could do maybe a book club and read this book as it talks about mindfulness, meditation, and etc. Because if you're healthy mentally, physical, spiritually, and emotionally, then also the insurance numbers aren't going to be super high because you're taking care of your body in a holistic way, which is also benefiting the company because they're not having to pay extra high premiums. So consider that, and you can incorporate it into your work and etc. And my big ask for y'all is for brand sponsors. I am looking for sponsorship so we could take the mission and movement further, which one of the missions is to bring content that is educational, inspirational, and motivational, while also weaving in DEI&B, which is my personal favorites, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, because it takes all of us coming together to make this world a better place. So make sure you follow the podcast. We're on 40 plus audio platforms, and the videos are found on YouTube. All you have to do is type the name of the show, which is Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp. And once you're part of the community, you're a gemster for life because each one of us has amazing gems to share. It's about you just opening your mouth and sharing with others and linking arms so we can build out this world. So I always challenge you to leave an imprint to drive an impact for now, tomorrow, and future generations to come. So I want to sign out with the amazing Anne Swanson. Go check out her incredible books as well as connect with her in her community so you can learn more about the science of yoga and meditation in the real world. Peace, love, and lots of blessings. Have yourself an amazing one, and don't ever sell yourself short because you truly matter.